Here's another one. The biggest drawback to being fat for me has always been how disproportionate my dick is to the rest of my body. Through food, I can make any other part of my body larger in a relatively short amount of time with no limit to its size, except for my dick. This seems cruel from an all-loving God perspective, if you ask me. With as fat as I've been, not a single solitary ounce of fat has ever made it to my dick. Sometimes I wish I was British so that I could use the metric system as the unit of measure to describe my dick, as 11 or 12 centimeters. Really doesn't sound that bad. I'd even go further and say that my dick may have actually gotten smaller over the years, or at least it appears to have. It now resides nestled in some type of fat pouch, much the same way a turtle's head retracts into its shell, except mine is 100% fat and would make a polar bear jealous. It would appear that the giant stomach that hangs over my waist acts like some sort of counterweight and has a pulling effect which draws my dick inside my body. I have lost weight in my life a few times, and the few times that I have lost a lot of weight, actually 3 times, I've lost over 120 pounds. And I can assure you that even though I lost the weight of another human being, it has literally had no effect on the visual appearance of the size of my dick. My dick as a focal point against my body as a landscape has always been alarming to me. It just appears out of scale. And I'm afraid that even in death, if I was to be cremated, that fucking fat pouch will be the only part of me left and will make my dick ashes look small. In fact, the larger I get, the greater the disproportion. And I've done the research on ways to enlarge it, but none of them seem effective, easy, or comfortable. And as a fat person, easy and comfort are essential. I've also done the research on comparing myself to the average size, and I'm afraid I just don't measure up. It's why I call it a dick. It seems like a benign word that appropriately describes what I'm working with. There are other words, such as cock, but I just don't feel right using that to describe this appendage. It feels as though I've shortchanged the word. Cock is a commanding word, direct in its description. When that word is used, you know what to look for. If my wife ever uttered the words, "Give me that cock," I would look around the room confused to see who she was talking to. And this all comes from a deep place in my brain and has had a profound effect on my life, confidence, and level of success, as well as how I'm viewed by the opposite sex. I mean, everybody knows what BDE stands for, big dick energy. But have you ever heard of LDLSE, little dick, low self-esteem? It has the exact same power, just in the opposite direction. Instead of a woman being instantly attracted to you, they are repulsed and quickly make sure that they are safe and secure and have no skin exposed or wedgies, etc. Luckily for me, I've been with my wife since I was 18, so there is no great need to try and be good with women. Instead, I've given my wife a lifetime of terrible sex, and she's been a good sport about it. I attribute this to her brief relationship with some African Americans in her teens before we were a thing. She never talked about the trauma, but I always assumed that her kidneys just couldn't handle it. Needless to say, I am living proof that once you go black, you never go back is a myth. But between knowing her history and my own insecurities about my dick, this has proven to be one of the toughest obstacles of my life. Thanks.